Now we have, I understand from my list, it's actually panel 18, so we've all been working very hard over the last few days, if that's how much we've been attending. I would like to invite Abdul Malek Al-Jabbar, Paolo Andres, and Gurram Kam to come and join me on the stage, and also our moderator, Harry Telekulu. And they will be discussing encouraging innovations outside mainstream banking. How should one respond to fintech innovation? So I have no doubt that Harry will take us, his panelists, through many interesting debates. We'll see if they all agree with each other, or maybe they won't. And thank you very much. I'll hand the stage to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Since early morning, we are talking about the fintech and the opportunities and the industry. Now we have different topics until the lunchtime. We will try to discuss and talk and understand the innovation and fintech relations, and are the banks or financial institutions to continue to acquire fintechs or to continue to follow up, to hire, to support innovation. And we will have three distinguished guests as speakers today. We try to find an answer. Innovation is coming with fintechs, or innovation still inside the finance industry? Yes. I need to introduce our guest. First, Abdul Malek Al-Jabbar, President of the Middle East Trade Association for Business Angels. Paolo Andre, Emeritus President, IBAN Portugal. And Gurram Kam, Deputy CDO, President of Innovation Committee, Denizbank and Turkey. Welcome again. My first question, we are talking too much about the innovation and fintech relations, and the banks are following innovation with fintechs. Is it true fintechs is giving opportunity to finance industry innovation, or innovation is coming another way?
Thank you very much. I'm going to be the double advocate tonight, because I know my very good friend would take the other side. So I come from I've worked in the banking industry, sitting on a board of banks for many, many years. So I understand how banks think from inside. Also led the largest telecom operators in the region, in the MENA region, for almost 17 years. And I can tell you with full confidence, I don't think banks would go into innovation, financial innovation, financial inclusion, or think outside the box unless they are forced to. And they are forced to if they have competition that will threaten their basic existence. And frankly speaking, looking at what's happening today, China as an example with WeChat and Alipay, looking what's happening in France with Orange having Orange Bank, and many other examples globally. I think when we go massively in that direction, and the classical banks believe that they would have serious competition where any person can open a bank account, can issue his own card or her card, can have his PIN, can do a full payment system, a full transaction system, including depositing money and including moving to full digital payment without the need to have an ATM machine or a branch or even to talk to anybody. Because in these kind of banks, I don't need to talk to any individual. I don't need to sit in a line. I don't need to ask questions the way they are being asked right now. Because frankly speaking, right now the classical banks or the conventional banking system, to me, it's a barrier for development. It's a barrier for the full digital transformation that we would like to reach. And unfortunately, governments, regulators until now, which is, to me, I think it's very stupid, they're still taking the side of the classical financial institutions. They're not yet taking at least the balanced approach, giving chance to the two different business models, okay? Maybe at least giving a chance, maybe they're wrong. And some surprising things happen. For example, yesterday the government of Sudan, things that you would never expect that the government of Sudan will do that, announced that by the end of this year, government entities would not accept a single cash payment for any single service. My colleague from Turkey was talking about 38%, the cashless services in Turkey. Imagine if a government decides from now on, I won't receive cash for any service, be it municipal tax, be it license, be it healthcare, everything. A government can change the whole playground in one single decision. And I do firmly believe that such a transformation to the digital world would be in the best interest of those who are in the most need for an inclusive financial system to enable economic inclusion and financial inclusion.
Thank you. And we are not stopping now. And traditional financial system, what do you think about two different cultures integrate each other? Is it possible? Is it create innovation, or startups or fintechs pissed off and the traditional bankings continue their own way? Is it possible? Yeah, for you.
I think that we need to understand why traditional banks and financial institutions are acquiring startups. The first thing that we may think is they want innovation. And so they want innovation, and so this is the best way to acquire startups. But if we go a little bit deeper and we talk with some of these people that are leading these acquisitions, we get surprises. I was talking with the head of innovation of a very large European bank, and I was talking to him about what was his acquisition strategy, and he says to me, look, there is so much pressure from the investors, from the press, asking what are we doing with this fintech, that we are being forced to show that we are acquiring fintech in order to show that we are going to be we will not be overpassed by the competition. So, and then I asked, but tell me, do you really do integration? No, in the most part of the cases, it's just for press release. It's unbelievable. You cannot believe how we are trying to acquire this. So there are different reasons. I see small banks that are very innovative, really trying to acquire fintech because it's the way that they can pass the large banks. But I see large banks having a lot of pressure from the stakeholders to do these kind of acquisitions. In this case, this bank, he had the mandate until 31st December last year to acquire 2 fintechs. So it was the mandate. It was not, you need to acquire fintech on artificial intelligence. You need to acquire 2 fintechs, and of course that could be sexy. If we see the trends, CB Insights in US, they have launched a research about the acquisition of the largest US banks. So the top 10 50. US banks acquired 18 fintechs since 2013, but 8 of those 18 were in last year. Yeah. So this trend of acquisition, I think, will keep going, and it's good for the angels.
Also, I read something in that same research. Also, they asked 40 biggest bank in US. They asked them what they are thinking about to acquire fintechs. The answer was, it's listed in our IT agenda. We are going to do our own fintechs. Yeah. And the research is saying that we're going to follow the bank. Are they going to deliver the product or not? Probably the stakeholder push them to get fintechs. But still, the traditional system is resisting to accept the fintech ideas or fintech company inside. I think it's a little bit different cultures, or the banks arguing that compliance is the issue, rules and regulations. What are the real reasons behind that? If the fintech is coming with innovation, I'm asking again you, why the traditional organizations are resisting such a change?
Because of course change is always difficult to accept. It's about jobs, it's about new skills. Someone that has been in the financial sector for 20 years cannot accept that a young kid of 21 is going now to lead a new process. So it's difficult to accept. And this integration of cultures is one of the most difficult things. But the point is sometimes when there is a real will to acquire a startup, a fintech startup, what are the banks looking for? Are the brand? Are the talent? Is the IP? Is the IT solution? And in some cases, it's different things. But usually it's not about the brand, and sometimes it's better just to acquire the technology, integrate in the bank, have one or two people from this company, the fintech, trying to do this transition, and that's it. Of course, the smart ones will acquire the talent and will put the talent inside the bank, but it needs to have a lot of work in terms of mixing these cultures, because the cultures are completely different.
I think this excuse of compliance that's always been used is nonsense, because I think to the contrary, the minute you move to a full digital world, compliance would even be more enhanced, and more information, of course, more profiling, and when you introduce artificial intelligence, then you can come up with endless products that are relevant to all stakeholders, be it the authorities or be it the different segments of the economy, service providers and service delivery. And talking about compliance, I'll give you an example, because right now, supposedly we have an amazing compliance system controlling transfer of money. So anything, it depends on the countries, but anything above like $5,000, then, a million questions are being asked, all the way to the color of the underwear of the person you are transferring money to. So it goes all the way in terms of questions. I own a payment company, and one day the compliance officer comes to me and say, the payment company, they have the point of sales for the processing. And she tells me that this client, the point of sale machines at his premises are functioning 24/7. I said, what do you mean 24/7? She said, 24/7. I said, with the same card? I said, no, different cards. So there are people sitting and just doing the cards. It's MasterCard. So once again, it's a whole thing that goes through the banks, and it's a MasterCard. It's the whole world watching what's going on. And so we dig deeper. There are different cards, actually thousands of cards being used in the same point of sale. So I called the merchant and said, listen, I have the police, and I want to find out what are you doing before going to the police. And imagine, in Venezuela, and this is in Jordan, Venezuela is in the other part of the world, okay? In Venezuela, you are not allowed to have hard currency because of the regulations in the country. And the exchange rate, official exchange rate compared to the black market exchange rate, it's huge difference. Yeah. But Venezuela government allows Venezuelans to travel. And each Venezuelan gets like $1,000 at the official rate. So what do merchants do? They go and have 100 names, 200 names, 300 names, depends on the size of the merchant, and they get these cards from them. And actually, my point of sales, that this merchant is registered in Jordan, he got the point of sales in Jordan. Actually, the terminals are sitting in a Dutch island close to Venezuela. And so they do these transactions on the machines, and the money comes to the account in Jordan, and then the money is shipped to buy material that goes to Venezuela. And we are talking about compliance and control. I mean, this is something anybody can do, by the way, because it's legal also. There's nothing illegal. So when you talk about, traditional banking system, you can imagine these kind of things happen. So using compliance as a justification for not introducing digital transformation is nonsense.
Thank you. Very good. Gürhan, you are representing a bank and you are responsible also innovation department and responsible a lot of innovative projects. Yeah. And first of all, maybe you can explain how it is work in your organization. Bank is a traditional organization, but they are saying like that. But you are doing a lot of things, and also how you are finding fintechs if you need. Are you looking outside, or you are hiring and you are feeding them and you are supporting them inside with the program and the project?
Okay, very good question, Hayri. Thank you so much. As you know, Hayri, in Turkey, the banking sector, the financial sector is quite different than other countries. So in Turkey, especially the banking sector is one of the most powerful sector of the country. So we are very hype and we are pioneering the digitalization and innovation. And also we are inspiring all other countries, including Europe, US, United Kingdom, and so on. So as a representative of one of the most innovative banks in the world, as Deniz Bank, we have a separate business line within the bank, which is called Digital Generation Banking. So this banking department is directly reports to the CEO. So it's separated from other business lines, which is the result of a vision that digitalization is not a necessity for only for individuals, but also for SMEs, corporates, traditional, and so on. So apart from that, we have also an innovation department, separated again from the business line, and that innovation department directly serves within the bank to the whole bank, including all other business lines, HR, operation, and so on. So it's a different organization, let's say, not within a specific business line, but directly reporting to managed board.
But inside the innovation department, the people are banker. I mean, the origin.
Exactly, yes.
They are not coming outside. They are not startups member, or they are not fintechs. They know the banking system. They know the traditional system.
Yes, they know the traditional systems, but we are trying to inspire ourselves as well in order to make the banking business some quite different. Let's come to the first in the beginning. As a result of Turkey banking sector, here in Turkey, the fintechs are competing with us. We are not competing with them. Yeah. So we are further than them. So we are, for instance, as Deniz Bank, we have a mobile wallet, separate mobile wallet. We have a special youth application within the bank. We have mobile application. We have some special portal, cloud environments for SMEs. So we have many things. But that is not the meaning that we do not need fintechs. Yeah. Second part of your question, what we are doing within the bank, yes, we have an agile IT platform within the bank, but we are trying to support fintechs and collaborate with them, because we are saying that lonely cowboy cannot survive within the banking sector. What we are doing simply, for instance, I want to give an example here. We have a special fintech partner, especially working on the social data mining, and has a cryptocurrency in the country. What we have done with them, we have created a special contest environment, which is called Everybody Wins. It's a mobile application, it's a contest, and it's a special collaboration with that fintech. We are supporting that application. We are asking questions live. The people in the country answering them and taking the real money. That real money can be spent only through our mobile wallet. So it's a special ecosystem with fintech, with bank, maybe sometimes with TV channels or other supporters. So we are trying to create a special ecosystem with fintechs in order to make them go further, because we need them. It is not meaning that we should kill them.
What is the reaction inside the bank? I'm also a banker, but it's nice to ask another banker to ask what is the reaction. What is the reaction in the bank, the compliance, the legal side, or the IT? The people are welcome and they are ready to work with fintechs or new idea, or a little bit suspicious and think about.
Actually, you should take compliance department somewhere else. But other people, including business lines, operations, and us as well, they are very familiar for working with fintechs. They want to do this because they are more agile, let's say. You can do things more quick than the banking part. Also, you can reach many other people which are not the bank customers. Because here in our strategy, when we are working with fintechs, we are directly targeting the non-bank and non-Denizbank customers. So we are changing the names, we are deleting the Denizbank name, and we are creating a special new product in order to catch new customers. So that new customers means customer acquisition for the business line as well. So they are saying, okay, it's good.
I mean, the people understanding each other and you are welcoming fintechs. Okay, after this short entry, my curiosity about we are talking too much about inside the finance industry, main drivers in financial sector coming years. This question is for you and the other respondent. AI, blockchain, or cryptocurrency. Which one will be the most attractive or most productive fintech industry? And also, and you observe different parts in the world, the geographical differences are important to decide which one to another in drivers.
First of all, I don't believe that geography is a barrier, because if you go with all due respect, Turkey is different, Jordan is different, each country is different. You'll hear that kind of justification in every country you go to, and I don't believe that's the case. I think we're all global citizens. We are all today with the digital transformation that's happening. I think everybody is equal and deserves to have the same kind of level of service regardless where you live. I think this limitation is imposed on us by mainly the regulator.
Yeah, because of the regulators.
And I think let's face it, regulators are somehow in conspiracy with the big players, and the big players in each country, who are they? Banks, big companies. So there's always this conspiracy between them, because just a small example, when we talk about mobile wallet, the regulators refuse to allow mobile operators to have mobile wallets without a bank. Why? Doesn't make sense. Because if you look at a mobile operator, by the way, 95% of the clients are prepaid. What is prepaid? It's money paid by the clients to the operator. So there's already depositing money. In a way, they are putting money with the operator. Now, what difference does it make if I use this money to make a voice call or surf the internet or buy a McDonald's? What difference does it make? It doesn't make any difference. But the regulators prevented mobile operators, and we suffered as a CEO of a mobile operator. We suffered in our discussions with the regulator. Convince me why. Okay, I have to do this to a bank. Definitely. There are, and of course, they always tell you the compliance and compliance, but I don't think this is the reason. Now, to come to your question, I think artificial intelligence, to me, is a key player. And you know, I received a nice message from a friend of mine. You know, he's ordering not him. The joke says he's ordering a pizza from Pizza, let's say Antonio, and then. Pizza Antonio, I want pizza soon. This is Google. It says, am I dialing the wrong number? No, this is Google acquired Pizza Mario. And then he says, you want the usual. The usual, what do you mean the usual? Well, sir, you have ordered this kind of pizza for so many times. And then says, yes. He said, no, but you should not, you should change because your cholesterol is high. I said, no, I want the normal, okay? And then it goes on the dialogue, because the credit card doesn't have there's no credit, and then the guy gets upset and says, okay, I'm going out of this planet to another planet, and then goes all the way and say your passport is expired. You know, he has the health data, he has the credit data, he has the habits, everything. So I think that's artificial intelligence, where the person by default becomes a fully digital person, where all the information is available and makes life much easier. So I think artificial intelligence, to me, comes first. Second, blockchain. Definitely, I see a lot of influence of blockchain on the development of the financial industry. I think in cryptocurrency, it's important, but to me, it comes a third priority.
Thank you so much. What is your preference? What's your thinking about AI? Is looking a bit dream. Maybe I'm traditional banker. That's why I'm not thinking out of box, because 10 years ago, maybe some of you remember that many conferences the people were talking about the branch will close, all the customer will use the mobile, blah, blah. But when we turn back to 10 years, the branch number, yes, diminished the size and numbers, but still they resist. And AI, we are talking too much about AI, and not easy, but I think the winner will be AI, but I want to hear what you are thinking.
I think that the traditional banking sector has already some connections with AI. So I'm from the IT sector, and I remember 10 years ago we sold a solution of data mining to a large insurance company, and through that data mining we discovered that there were some insurance for very expensive cars, but no accidents. And it was a surprise. So these expensive cars, they don't have accidents. It was collection cars that were in garage, and so they created a special insurance for those type of cars. So the artificial intelligence for the banks is not something completely new, because they have already this experience from data warehouse, data mining, etc. I see today, and there are different, when we talk about AI, there are different levels of AI. So for instance, chatbots. Now chatbots is almost every bank has a chatbot, so that will help to connect with the clients. And even on the social media, they also have a lot of intelligence to understand what the client what does that client want and how influential that client wants. One of my portfolio companies sells a service for airlines to understand when there is a complaint, if that client is very important, is very influential. So if he has a lot of followers, this will come first, because if this person is not well treated, they will post something against the airline, and then it damages. So this kind of AI is very popular now, and it's being used. When we go deeper in terms of AI, and in the future, if we need to go to a branch, if we live in a cashless society, and the robots and the artificial intelligence can suggest us and can know us better than the human being, I think we are moving to that direction. If we always need some human interaction, yes, but that will cost a lot of money, and probably the banks will need to change a lot. And we are seeing this already in the market, so it's not a question that if the banks will need to change. They are changing now.
Yeah, thank you so much. Güran, let us describe how can AI-supported products we will see. We talk about the chatbot supported by AI, and the financial literacy is going to be the issue for the markets. Maybe in your perspective, in Turkish banking population or globally, because the people are ready to use mobile devices, and they are using a lot different parts of the world. But AI will help them to more active, the more frequent to use that device, or
AI will help us.
Can I just translate this to pure English? What he wants to know is when the AI will replace the head of innovations of banks. I think it's
exactly.
that's
I ask kindly.
Replace the bank itself. Yeah. Yes, AI will help us, Hayri. But let's start from the beginning. We are calling Generation X, Y, Z, but I'm calling Digisapiens. Digisapiens are the new species of us, including all of us. So we are the new species here. And we are using our brain less than the Homo sapiens. So with the implementation of internet technology, we have started to use internet as a part of our brain. So we do not remember, or we do not put the knowledge inside, but we are using there. So AI is the next step of this. So we will not use our brains mentally more in coming 5 years. But please start with this description of the AI. AI is not the meaning that some special algorithms, some special softwares. No. AI should include the machine learning inside. So it will not be necessary to someone to enter some algorithms. If these customers comes here, then do this like this. It is not AI. AI should learn by itself. So it is not so easy for us or for everyone to implement an AI. But some giants, I'm saying tech fins, like Google, like Amazon, is doing this very properly and very successfully. And they are serving these facilities with their cloud environments. And we are understanding the cloud technology like data storage, but it's not only data storage. It's also some kind of services like that. So in financial environment, yes, we should use AI in order to make our service easy for the customers, easy their lives for us. But maybe we can find a way to collaborate with some Google AI in order to beat other AIs. We should find a way. In Turkey, it's quite difficult because of the regulations, but in some other countries, I mean the no borders perspective, it will be useful for the banks in order to find a way to use Google
but
AI.
we believe that regulators and compliance are going to change, and they have to change, and the country differences, yes, we will see maybe for the coming years, but later, as your suggestion, it will adapt it, no country to country differences. They have to find a way. The new technology, they're gonna find their way, and the banks will not, or the big companies will not say no. Am I understood right? For more democratized and more free market will come for the fintechs?
I think the disruptors will force regulators to go that way. I mean, look at the disruptors like Uber as an example. The disruption that Uber introduced globally, and in many countries, it's an interesting case because if you take, for example, Jordan, the taxi system in Jordan is very complicated. To become a taxi driver, it's a process. Through different kind of security screening, to different kind of insurance, to different kind of license, etc., etc., etc. And suddenly, here comes this virtual company that basically opens the sphere. At the beginning, the regulators tried to say it's not allowed, of course. But how many policemen can you have in the street? Yeah. Can you stop every private car and make sure that the person in the car is a driver or an owner? And how do you know that this guy is being told, please don't say that you're my friend? I mean, it's impossible. I mean, it's literally impossible to stop such a disruptive service. Now, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. If regulators will not move, what prevents me from becoming a client in the Orange Bank? I mean, I could be a client in any digital currency in the world. The regulators, they will make my life difficult at the beginning, which they did, by the way, for the Uber. They had police people stopping private cars, okay, suspecting this person, maybe he's sitting in the back, then he's not a friend, he's a passenger, okay? Okay, and then you can do that for maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then what? So they can really sometimes put kind of barriers, but they cannot stop it. And I think the only way, of course, there are two ways. One way, suddenly we have smart governments. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we do. In Dubai, for example, the government in Dubai is the one that's leading the transformation. I mean, the visionary leader of Dubai is doing that. So you have rare cases of smart governments really leading the future and wants to have, when you have a government of having Ministry of Happiness, Ministry of Reconciliation, Ministry of Forgiveness. I mean, that's way ahead of what we are living in many parts of the world. So you have some smart governments. I think the other set of governments, which are the majority, they won't move unless they are forced to move. And I think that's happening, fortunately, beyond their control. They cannot stop it.
Thank you. Before to close, your last comments, maybe we did not touch 1 minute for both of you.
Okay, three of us said AI, but do not forget about the blockchain as well, because blockchain is very important for the coming future, and blockchain is affordable for fintechs as well. So blockchain, I don't know the name, but someone said, is a vehicle to transport the value. it's not only cryptocurrency. So we should use the blockchain technology within the banking sector in order to make money transfer, yes, but also for the smart contracts. So I'm saying that AI plus blockchain is very important for coming 5 years. And for the Turkey perspective, or maybe you can inspire from Turkey, the only way for doing business with the fintechs is not acquisition. It should be collaboration with each other. Maybe it is not necessary to take a part or share from fintech, but you can collaborate with each other in order to create the correct financial inclusion, because they should have chance to live, or they have chance to be bigger, let's say. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that this fintech activity and acquisition will be intensified in the next few years. Yesterday we saw the change of these ICOs, and we saw that just 2 years ago it was absolutely nothing. And from zero, from night to day, it was just in case of 1 year and a half, something like this. So the banks need to be prepared because they can be surprised by a tsunami, and we cannot think, the banks cannot think that in our country this is the way, because as it was mentioned, this can be from Venezuela to Sudan or Jordan, and this is happening everywhere, and the banks should be ready for this change. They should not think, oh, in our country we have the regulator stopping us. And we see several governments, for instance in UK, the CFA, they have this sandbox approach for fintech in order to encourage fintech. And more governments are trying to create this sandbox approach. So try to put a light regulation, of course with some limits, but allows this fintech to flourish without asking so much money as a deposit for guarantee, for instance, which is one of the problems in the most fintech companies.
Thank you for all. I hope you enjoyed the discussion, and let's stop now, I guess. Am I right? Yes, we stopped.